Alright, yeah, I chose to rock my New England versus everyone shirt today because I'm sure everyone out there is going to flood me with, oh, look, Tom Brady led the Patriots, which has already left me in a very depressed state of mind, and I'm sure after talking about this movie, I'll be in more of one, so time for me to hate myself. Bloodshot is a new superhero-ish movie starring Vin Diesel, and probably the last new release you were able to see before everything got shut down due to the coronavirus. I'll touch more on that a little bit later. Stick around to the end of this video. So in this movie you have Vin Diesel. He plays this, I want to say, Navy SEAL of sorts. In the opening scene of the movie, he's on this mission. He takes out this guy. He saves one of his soldiers until later on you discover he has a wife. One night, he is tracked down by this guy played by Toby Kebbell. I want to say he works for the opposing military, or at least the opposing force that they're fighting against. They abduct him. They abduct his wife. And he says to Vin Diesel, he's like, alright, so here's what's going to happen. You're going to tell me what you know, or I'm going to kill your wife. Vin Diesel honestly tells him, like, I don't know. If I knew, I would tell you. And Toby Kebbell's like, well, that's too bad. And, you know, he puts, like, a nail gun through his wife's head, kills her, and Vin Diesel threatens him with the whole, oh, if you do that, you better kill me. And Toby Kebbell's like, okay, shoots him in the head. Vin Diesel, you assume, is now dead, but what you then discover is sometime later, Vin Diesel has woken up, he's alive, and that's because nanobots now flow through his body thanks to this scientist played by Guy Pearce. So I will say, right there, with the opening of that movie, I was actually very intrigued into it. It had me interested. I was thinking, okay, it's going to be kind of like a revenge mission for Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel has this great power. He basically can't die. He has nanobots in his body that repair any kind of injury he goes through, and you know, now it's gonna be a revenge mission to take out this guy in Toby Kebbell. He goes, he hunts him down, he destroys all of his henchmen, he eventually kills Toby Kebbell himself, but then what happens later on is Vin Diesel, you know, goes through, basically what we discover is a simulation that is being run by Guy Pearce of him living through the same day that he occurred when his wife died, except this time, the killer of his wife is an entirely new person. Now we see at this point exactly what it is that Guy Pearce is running. He has basically taken this great hitman So now we finally see what it is Guy Pearce is running. He is this scientist who has taken these very good soldiers, in this case Vin Diesel, filled them with nanobots to make them the ultimate weapon, and he continues to put them in these realities that mess with their memories, make them think something happened, so that way when they wake up, their attention is fixated on this person, so anyone who's a threat to Guy Pearce, he just sends them off, has them killed. It sounds like an interesting premise, but let me tell you right now, it's a premise that I think really dropped the ball. Initially, what I did feel would have worked for this movie if they had elongated what happened with, you know, Toby Kebbell's character. If they made him the main antagonist, you know, it's a revenge mission for Vin Diesel to track this guy down and kill him and, you know, avenge his wife. But no, that all gets, you know, taken care of in the first act of the movie. Then the second act of the movie is, well, it's basically the same thing, but with an entirely different character. And really, because Guy Pearce eventually just assigns his memory to a bunch of different people, a bunch of different enemies, it's really just Vin Diesel doing that over and over again for a while. So I guess you could say it's kind of like a Groundhog Day version of a superhero movie. We've obviously seen different versions of Groundhog Day happen before. We've seen them in action movies like Edge of Tomorrow. We've seen them in horror movies like Happy Death Day. And it's a very tricky premise to use in a movie, because if you can do it right, your movie can be very good. It can be really fun. It can be really enjoyable. You can have a great time with it. If you do it wrong, the movie's just going to get boring as fuck because it's the same thing over and over again. If you're going to use the premise, you need to find a way to keep your movie fresh, to keep audiences still guessing of what could happen next, to make them feel like there's more of something to be seen while the day is still going on. Like, you know, there is an adventure that can be completed. It's not just the whole day in a loop. The movie wasn't really able to do that, and that's honestly what bothered me. As a result, I was just sitting there for most of this movie just bored, you know, checking the time, wondering when something different was going to happen. The the movie didn't keep me engaged. It wasn't a fun movie. Another area I really felt this movie suffered from was wasted potential with some of its characters. For example, when Vin Diesel does wake up, Guy Pearce introduces him to some of the soldiers he has in his unit. You hear a little bit about the backstories that each of them have, and how Guy Pearce used his experiments to help them gain function, gain powers. Some of these characters were actually pretty unique, and one of them, namely the girl that's in this group, she gets some time to shine. We learn a little bit more about her, but really, most of them are just there for the sake of being there until the final act when we have to have a big fight. Where I think this movie could have been much better is if the movie, in a way, kind of became like, I don't know, like a B version of the Avengers or something like that. Like, you have all these heroes, and then you learn a little bit more about these heroes, what they've lost, what they've gained now with these powers, and then, they have to take out a guy like Toby Kebbell, work together because maybe he's organizing something that's much bigger than all them, and they have to work together in order to stop him. It could have been for a very entertaining superhero action movie, and who knows, maybe if it turned out to be really well, it could have led to a franchise of sorts. It felt like the studio just missed a golden opportunity here, because you look at the MCU right now, the Avengers storyline is over. Yeah, they're still going to make movies here and there, but I mean, that storyline is over. You could have made these guys like the new superheroes to, be fans of, to root for. Instead, most of these superheroes are dicks who are helping Guy Pearce make Vin Diesel live the same day over and over again, and I don't know, it felt wasted. Really, the final fight between, Vin Diesel and the other guys, I mean, it's okay. I mean, I will say right here, the visual effects, they're not all that great. I mean, there's one scene where Vin Diesel is fighting a couple of them in an elevator shaft, or like one of those elevators that's used in construction buildings. It was very clearly CGI. It was very shaky cam. It wasn't a very polished action scene. The movie tries to pull the whole like, oh, the girl has developed romantic feelings for Vin Diesel, so she's, joining him, she's turning on Guy Pearce, so, she kills Guy Pearce, and, really that's just what the movie is right there. They have that big fight at the end, and now the two of them, along with the new hacker friend that Vin Diesel has, they go off to do whatever. I mean, I imagine the movie was maybe attempting to set up for a potential franchise, but my guess is it's probably not going to look like that. So all in all, Bloodshot, this was a pretty wasted movie. And I did feel like Vin Diesel was in his element, it's kind of a cheesy action movie, if you will. He's known for doing that. I mean, he's been doing the Fast and Furious movies for what's supposed to be 9 films, but will eventually be 9 films. The movie has an interesting premise. I saw what the movie was going for, but I really feel they dropped the ball in what it could have been. The movie felt slow. It was really boring in parts. They really should have done a better job with the action. I really wish I cared more about these characters. Ideally, when I go into a superhero movie about a superhero that I don't really know of, I want it to make me interested in that superhero. I want to watch that movie, then I want to go home, do a little more research into the superhero, and find out more about them. What's their backstory? What are more of their powers? What are their enemies? What storylines do they have? So I can look forward to what else could be in future movies. In the end, Bloodshot's one of those superhero movies that didn't make me give a shit for the character Bloodshot, and didn't make me give a shit for whatever they could be setting up. Hopefully it was just a one and done movie. Before I go, as I mentioned in the very beginning of this video, I alluded to the coronavirus, how obviously that has become a very big deal right now. It's become a pandemic. The president has literally ordered a nationwide emergency. Literally, as I'm sure you all know, everywhere is closing. Restaurants, bars, movie theaters, they're all shut down. As a result, a lot of movies that we're all looking forward to, A Quiet Place Part 2, Mulan, The New Mutants, that fucking movie seriously can't catch a break. They've all been delayed, they've all been pushed back, some as far as into next year. And really at this point, no one really knows when movies are going to get released again. No one knows when movie theaters are going to open back up. We don't know how long the coronavirus is going to go on for. So as a result, I do not know when I will be getting to the movies next. So the question you all might now have is, what's going to happen with my channel? So, been thinking about it for a little while. Here's what's going to happen. Obviously, I will keep a very close eye on the coronavirus, as I'm sure all of us will. I'm sure as soon as movie theaters open back up, I will get right back in there and I will see whatever is getting released. But until that happens, what I'm going to do is this. lately my girlfriend and I have been watching a lot of movies recently. A lot of movies that came out last year, a lot of movies that came out years ago. We've been watching a lot. Not just that, but TV shows as well. We've been pretty glued to the TV. But what that's made me think about is there are some movies that came out last year that I didn't end up reviewing, or some movies that came out last year that I just recently saw. There's some older movies that I kind of feel like talking about, but I never really got around to doing that because, you know, maybe new releases got in the way or a busy schedule just got in the way. There are even some TV shows I really wanted to talk about that I have not had the chance to talk about. There are even some video games. I'm not the biggest gamer in the world, but if I could talk about a video game here and there, I certainly could. So honestly, I will not make any guarantees. I'm obviously not gonna probably be able to do too much. Ideally, I don't want to have too much free time on my hands. I want this all to be squashed soon enough. But in the meantime, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look back on some movies that I've seen recently, or some shows I've been watching, or games I've been playing, whatever it is, anything out there. I will, you know, look at some of them, and if any of them are worth making a video on, I'll make a video about them. And that goes for you guys right now. If by any chance there are any movies you want me to review or any shows you want me to talk about, please feel free to recommend them in the comment section. I would love to hear from you guys if there are any that you've been itching for me to talk about. If you can communicate with me, if you can tell me that, I would happily listen. But that's what's going to happen on my channel. I'm not just going to go into hiatus. I hope that doesn't happen anyway. Who knows? I could get diagnosed with the damn thing, and then I have to go into quarantine in a little box for a while. So hopefully that doesn't happen, and hopefully the coronavirus goes away soon. Until then, that's what's going to be going on my channel. And so the rest of you, please stay safe, stay healthy, remember to wash your hands, you know, keep a safe distance from people, and just keep your wits about you. We're gonna get through this. But for now, that's all I gotta say. So guys, thank you so much for watching my video. Don't forget to leave a comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.